Hey, it's Charles Williams from Inside the Principal's Office, a network dedicated to providing school leaders from around the world a safe space to connect, learn, and grow from one another. Now look, as leaders, we know the importance of trust, but we also know how difficult it is to maintain and to establish that trust. That is why we're dedicating our next episode to this exact topic. So I hope that you'll join us on Saturday, March 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this important conversation. I look forward to seeing you there.
Hi, I'm Michael McWilliams of the new SchoolRubric show, Inside the Principal's Office. You know, as principals, we have a lot of things on our plates. Well, when you think about it, we have multiple plates that we have to make sure they're spinning every single day. We take care of things like budget, facilities, appraisals, hiring, data and assessment, parent involvement, student discipline, facilitating the learning of others while facilitating our own learning. And while we do all those things, it is our responsibility to help cultivate an atmosphere, a culture of trust. How do you cultivate trust while managing so many things? That's the topic of this week's show. I invite you to join us on March the 6th for Inside the Principal's Office. We will discuss creating a culture of trust among all of our stakeholders. Join me.
Good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be in the world. We are so excited to be back for episode 2 of Inside the Principal's Office, a new show sponsored by at SchoolRubric on all their social media platforms. We're so excited. My name is Michael McWilliams, and I am an elementary principal in Denton, Texas. And I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to have this time to dialogue with colleagues. Inside the Principal's Office is a safe place for school administrators. This is our opportunity to have a dialogue and to have crucial conversations that we need to have to move our schools forward and to move our kids forward from good to great, and then from great to greater. We do that by taking advantage of these opportunities to network. This venue offers time for us to collaborate with other school leaders. I'm so excited to be here. Our guests are so knowledgeable. There are people on this broadcast today that are smarter than me in areas, and I want to learn from them today. I am so ecstatic to have this journey with my co-host, and we're going to let Charles introduce himself at this time.
Good morning, Mac, and welcome to the show, everyone. So excited to be here again. I'm really looking forward to what this show becomes, and not just the show, but as Mac was explaining, this network of school leaders, because that is exactly, as he mentioned, how we learn and grow, because we are often isolated in our offices, in our schools. We don't get those connections like all of our teachers do. So super excited to be able to help create this opportunity to connect with some amazing leaders like we have right down here, right? Asael and Emily. So my name is Charles Williams. I am a K-8 principal on the far west side of Chicago. Been in education for about 15 years. And on top of being a principal, I am the host of the Counter Narrative podcast, which you can find right here on SchoolRubric.com, as well as obviously being the co-host of this amazing show. So super excited to be here. And really excited to talk about this idea of trust, right? We talk a lot about the need to establish authentic relationships, right? I don't know about you guys, but that seems to be in every single conversation, relationships, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't often talk about how do we do that. And so I'm super happy that we're going to be taking the time today to talk about that relationships are built upon trust, and how do we build the trust to make those relationships. So super, super looking forward to the conversation today. But this is not about me. This is not all about Mac. This is about us coming together. So I have to turn it over to Asael and Emily. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves to our viewers. So Emily, I am going to start off with you, and then Asael, feel free to jump in right after.
Hello, Charles and Mac. Thank you for the invitation today. I'm Emily McLarty, and like Mac, I am a principal here in Denton ISD in Denton, Texas. I am the head of school at Borman Elementary, PYP. We're an international baccalaureate school and a primary years program. I'm also mom to Hank and wife to Patrick. These are my people. And I'm so excited to talk about this, probably one of the most important topics in my life, and that has built what it means to be a leader who is effective and also who really enjoys my work. So thank you for the invitation today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Asael, I know we are building a relationship online. So share with our audience the amazingness that is happening down in Rio Hondo. And I want to point out, we've got Mac from Texas, we've got Emily from Texas, we've got Asael from Texas. I'm the only Chicago person here, so I'm feeling a little left out, but I still love all of you guys.
Oh, never mind.
Hey, all you have to remember is don't mess with Texas here.
That's right. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Good morning, everyone. Obviously, super excited to be here and representing We Are Rio Hondo. Once again, my name is Asael Ruvalcaba, and of course, I'm the proud principal of Rio Hondo High School. I've been in education for over 25 years. I taught for 11 years. During those 11 years, I taught in a tested area, coached several sports, from football, basketball, baseball, golf. I was a lead tutorial teacher, and I would even help out in ISS every once in a while. So currently, this is my third year here at Rio Hondo High School, and we're about 30 miles away from the Mexican border. We are a rural community. We only have one elementary in this town, one middle school, and one high school. Our student population here at the high school is about 530 students. Obviously, our school and our town is very rich in our support base. We love our football, Friday Night Lights. There's nothing else like it. Love our FFA, our cheerleaders, our band. Every student extracurricular activity. I mean, we're just, our fan base and our parents we go all out. So very proud of that. Obviously, this year has been tough, but I would not want to be anywhere else. So very blessed, very proud to be here at Rio Hondo High School.
Excellent. We're so glad that y'all are here. And I just want to speak just a little bit more about what we are attempting to do with inside the principal's office. I am a career principal. I've been in education for 25 years. 21 years of that, I've been an administrator, 2 years as an assistant principal. This is my 19th year. I know I look young, but this is my 19th year as a principal. And what has me so pumped and charged about inside this principal's office and SchoolRubric is we really have an opportunity to build what I've not had these 21 years. And that is a community of leaders, just a sense of community. And I just want to let you know that the conversation that we have today is a dialogue, but it expands, and our desire is for it to expand beyond the boundaries and time limits that we have today. We have a Facebook group, and if you are on Facebook, I want to encourage everyone to please be a part of our Facebook group inside the principal's office. Go there now and join. We post articles. We want to have a dialogue throughout the week and in between broadcasts. We do this twice a month, but we really want to build a community and a place where we can support each other in this very important work that we're doing for children. So do that. We're going to jump into our conversation today, and we have Taylor Armstrong. He's the Assistant Technology Director, and he's from Alabama, and he is going to start probing us, and he has the first inquiry for today.
Hey, I'm Taylor Armstrong, Assistant Director of Technology for Miss Davie Hill City Schools. And I'm going to ask you, what would you say has been or is the most critical element as a school leader in building trust with your stakeholders? And more importantly, how exactly do you know if you've achieved a certain level of trust? What kind of indicators should a leader be looking for? Is it just a feeling, or are there specific look-fors or indicators? Let us know.
Wow, that's a lot. Asael, why don't you start us out today? What are your thoughts about that initial question this morning?
No, that's a lot right there to digest. So thank you, Taylor. The obvious answers are, transparency, honesty, communication, listening, empathy, having an open door policy, even experience. But before any of that can happen, people need to know that you care about them. Plain and simple. Our stakeholders, especially our students, are not numbers. They're not data. They are people, and we gotta treat them as such. They're human beings, and more than ever, we all know that this year has been tough, and on our students, and we as adults, we need to create those connections. Very, very important that we're reaching out to our number one stakeholder, and that is our students. And the same thing with teachers. They want you to know that you care about them. You can turn blue in the face and say, yes, I have an open door policy. But if teachers aren't going into your office or if you're accommodated, then guess what? You don't have an open door policy. So, we all need to keep that in mind. And again, there's a lot of look-fors, a lot of feelings, but anyone can walk into a campus or a classroom and the climate and the culture right away.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. As a principal or a teacher, are your students wanting to get schedule changes? These are some look-fors that you need to look at. Are they requesting schedule changes to get out of a classroom? Are teachers wanting to leave your campus not only mid-year but at the end of the year? How do you keep your turnover? Are most of your students not completing assignments? Even that's an indicator. And you as a teacher, are you blaming the students or are you looking at yourself? There are plenty of indicators out there, but you, the person, the teacher, the principal, you must be willing to accept them. And not only that, but obviously take action. And yeah, we can do all these surveys. We can do a survey every week. But if nothing is happening as a result of those surveys, then why even bother? Remember this, we're here to serve and treat people as such. And protocols don't mean anything if there's no trust.
Right. You gave a lot for us to think about and a lot for us to consider, and most definitely trust is an action word. And I like the way that you said that you take the surveys, but people have to see that you are actually responding to the input that they give. I have seen the action of Miss Emily, because we're blessed to be colleagues in the same school district. And I know that this is an area of passion for you. And I can't wait to hear what your expertise and what your experience, what do you have to say about this question?
Thank you, Mac. Yes, like you, this is my 25th year in education. Wow. And I became an assistant principal in 2005 and then a principal in 2009. And all that time, really the driving force behind my interactions with kids, with staff, with families has been connection and real connection, genuine connection. And at the very beginning of my career, one of my favorite professors from graduate school, from UNT, gave me a book. I talked to him about, I want to build trust. I want people to know that they can count on me. And that's somewhat in the question. The gentleman said, is it a feeling? And we all do know that there's feeling attached. You can tell when you're making a genuine connection with someone and when there's mutual trust. But there's also some research attached to this too, that really gives especially new novice leaders some foundational ground to stand on. And then for us that are more tenured, we'll say.
Seasoned.
Right.
No, go ahead.
Right. There's some things we can garner from this research that we can take a look at and make sure we're still doing what we said we'd do. And those, there's this book called Trust Matters by Megan Moran, and it's a meta-analysis of the facets of trust. And there are 5 foundational, important factors that have to be present in order for there to be real trust in a building leader, but also just collaboratively everyone. And those are benevolence. Like Asael said, people have to believe that you really do care genuinely. They have to trust that benevolence that you have toward them, and most importantly, toward the children. The second one is honesty. And we all know that a trusting relationship is built on both parties being honest.
Right.
The third one is openness. And that's for that can mean lots of things. For example, openness to shared leadership, openness to other people's ideas,
Right.
Openness to good questions. The third one is reliability. When I say I'm going to do something, I need to do it. When I need to keep commitments, I need to, people need to be able to count on us as leaders. And that's team leadership to building leadership to district leadership. The fifth one is competence. People have to, we have to be an example. We have to be a model for the type of learning we want to provide, the type of service we want to provide, the type of relationships with families that we want to have. We have to show experience and ability in those areas through our competence. So those are real research-based facets of trust, and they're also just great human touchstones for us to make sure that we're really providing the trusting relationship that our colleagues and kids deserve.
Yeah, and I think I hear that coming out in, relationships, that we have to recognize that relationships and the connections that we make in our building, that's the capital that we have. I mean, you do things for kids through people. We are very people-centered, and we have to have quality relationships and connections to do what we need to do for kids. And so trust is so very important. We've heard the Texans talk. Charles, let's talk about, how does trust work in Illinois? How do my Chicago peeps build trust?
I'm glad you asked. And I'm going to make a mental note, like, not to go after your Texas peep crew. I'm looking at my little list. I'm like, well, check. So one, I want to echo everything that was just said, because it is absolutely true. These things, I don't think there is one critical component. I don't think there's one element when we're talking about building trust, because there are so many different factors. And Mac, I love the fact that you said it's an action word, right? Trust is built upon the things that we do.
Right.
So the one thing that I'm going to throw in here, because I was trying to tease it out as I was listening to everything, is being invested, right? Knowing that you are invested in your school. When I came to my building, I believe it was the third or fourth principal in the same amount of years. Right. And so I saw Mr. McCurdy, my 5th grade teacher. I saw him in here. So good morning. And amazing group of individuals. I saw Dr. Ford. I saw somebody with the last name McWilliams. So I think you guys have some support here, Mac. But when I came into the building, I knew right away, they thought, here's another guy. He's going to be gone. And I said immediately, I'm not going anywhere. Right. This is our building. And I rolled up my sleeves and I jumped in. And so as what we've talked about was that they need to see that you are committed to the work that you're doing and that you are going to walk your talk, right? That's something I talk about all the time, because you can say whatever you want to say. Yes, like I say, my door is open, or I believe in you and I support in you. But if you're not doing things, if you're not showing that to be true, none of that matters. And so I think over time, I know that my dean and I, we talk about this all the time now. We used to butt heads because he didn't trust me. He was ingrained in the school and he didn't trust that I had the best interest of the school. So, I definitely had to demonstrate that as we were going, moving forward. And now it's completely different. Well, at least I hope so. Donald, don't say anything different. And no, I'm joking. I'm joking. So I just think, like we've said, it is a culmination of these things, right? It is something that we have to live every day.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to bring up, a document. And so, I would love to get your guys' feedback on this. So as I mentioned, I am part of CPS, the Chicago Public Schools. Anytime I say CPS outside of Chicago, people immediately think Child Protective Services, and they look at me, and I'm like,
red flags are going off in this sector.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, wait a second, what did you do? No, it's Chicago Public Schools. So we have this amazing document that was just timely. In fact, it was released, right as we were planning this session. And so one of the things that I love the most, because I really thought when I opened it up, it was going to be one of those textbooks. Here's how you build trust. Here's the things you do. This is how you do to others. But it spent a lot of time. And this is one of the things that I didn't hear. And so I'd love to get some feedback from you guys, is that we not once do we talk about making sure that we were taken care of, that we took care of ourselves. Because, you hear this on the plane, right? You got to put your mask on before you take care of somebody else. And so if we are not taking care of ourselves, are we going to be in the place that we could build relationships with others? So I loved this idea. And then they also talked about 5 different components on how you could build the, trust, these interpersonal actions. And so I want to just take a moment here and just open it up. Mike, Mac, could you kick us off? What are some thoughts around this? Because I know we didn't touch on this. So I'm just curious what you think.
I think one of the most important things on this slide that we're looking at now is the fact that a trusting relationship takes time. And especially when you're a new principal going to a building, or even when you are a sitting principal that has been there a while, but now you have a new group of teachers that are coming in, trusting relationships really take time. And in the context of a relationship, I think it is very important. When you think about time, why does it take time? I think that we need to understand that people are really looking at us and they are trying to identify patterns in us. And so one of the biggest things that I think about how you use your time is being very intentional with your words and being very intentional with your interactions. No one has a neutral interaction. When they interact with you, they're going to walk away. They're going to say that it is either positive or it is negative. They're not going to say, oh, well, that was kind of neutral. We really have to make sure that we are spending. I spend words like I spend my cash. Because once you spend it, it's hard to, you can't return it. Once I give Neiman's my money, they have it. They're not giving it back. So once we give our words out, we have to make sure that we say what we say, we mean it, and then that we do it. People they have to see a pattern of he says what he means, and he's always going to act on it. He's always going to follow up on it. If you say that you're going to support teachers, you have to support them, because over time, it's that pattern of your connection and your supporting. That is what's going to make that relationship quality, and that's what's going to build that trust.
Absolutely. Emily, Asael, quick takeaway from this before we move on to our second question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Asael. So that slide that you showed from CPS was really just packed full of good things to think about. And the 2 that just are jumping out at me right now are celebrating successes. Every room I walk into at school, and hopefully in life, I look for what's working. What is that teacher doing, or what about this environment that they've created together with their students is working? And a lot of times the teacher wouldn't even be able to actually name that for themselves. Because they're just doing it. They're just doing it because they're amazing and they're dedicated and passionate. And so being able to put names, to put those words to people's accomplishments and help celebrate that with them personally, but also school-wide, keeps those kinds of positive things going and keeps the focus where it needs to be on which is what's working. And then that second one that jumped out at me was the just the encouragement of people. And gosh, like Asael said earlier, we've not only have we had an entire global situation for the last year, but Texas, just in the past 3 weeks, we've faced yet another really
Yes.
difficult time. And so being there for each other and supporting each other is just, it's absolutely critical. So.
Absolutely. So we've got time looking for those successes, working together. So Asael, bring it home before we jump into question number 2.
So for me, it's a lot about it's self-care. Like you really, as the leader, like I want to be here every day. I don't want to miss a day. And I want students, and I want teachers, and I want parents that when they pass by the high school, that they see, I want to be the first one on campus, and I just want to be consistent every single day. I do have this phrase that I always use, and it's send it, and it reminds me that we're here to serve. So every time I answer the phone, it's like send it, and basically I'm here to work with you. I'm here to support
Love
you.
it.
Whatever problem you have, I might not have the answer to everything, but I'm gonna try to work with you, and I'm gonna try to solve your problem or your concern. But very, very important that we keep that in mind. We're here to serve people, and if we're not taking care of ourselves, then who are we gonna help? Kind of like the first template you put out. As far as the put on your face mask, your oxygen mask before you can even try to help anyone. Whether it be my regiment starts at 4 a.m. I try to get in 3 miles or push-ups or sit-ups, whatever the case might be. I get up and that's my everyday morning routine, because I want to have a healthy body. On my way to work, I always listen to an audiobook, and I just want to get my brain going, my flow going, everything. My body's flowing, my blood, and I just want to be, when I step onto this campus, I want to be ready. So because it's going to be a long day.
Celebrate your success, like that slide, 3 miles every morning, 4 o'clock.
Yes, sir. So
Wow.
that's what I try to do, and very, very important that we keep in mind, that we're here to serve. I mean, please don't forget that.
Absolutely. And I think we have a new hashtag, right? Hashtags send it. So
Yes.
so we're going to contribute. We're getting hashtags out of this. We got purple time from Mac, send it from
Find
me.
your purple. Yes.
There you go. So I'm going to give everybody a moment, because we just gave you a lot of information. So as you are synthesizing that, digesting it, jotting down your notes, if you're one of those people that create those cool like illustrated notes, I'm not good at that. So send me yours, please. As you're doing that, I want to remind everyone who's watching right now to please make sure that you subscribe and follow us at SchoolRubric.com. And make sure, if you're not part, I know Mac mentioned it earlier, but if you're not part of our Facebook group or
Right.
Twitter, please make sure that you do, because we have a short amount of time that we have in this conversation this morning, but we want to keep this conversation going because it is so full. There's no way we can capture this in less than an hour. So please make sure that you join those groups, so that way you could keep the conversation going and to be a part of it. This is not about the 4 of us talking. We want to hear your voices. We love the comments popping up. So please keep that going. So with all of that being said, hopefully that gave you some time to digest, because now it is time for question number 2, coming to us from Holly Shelton, an assistant principal from, guess where? Texas. Another one. But that's all right. We're loving our Texas Jeeps today. All right, let's see question number 2.
Hi, I'm Holly Shelton, assistant principal in Lewisville, Texas. Part of creating a culture of trust means sometimes we are opening ourselves up and allowing us to be vulnerable. Can each of you share an example of a vulnerable moment as school leaders and how it ultimately led to a greater trust within your community?
All right. So, that's a great question. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that I am starting this off, which means I could be the last one here, because this was a challenging one. And I had a long conversation with my staff members, with my wife. I was like, ooh, this is a challenging one. So I am going to go last. Emily, why don't you kick it off for us?
Great, thank you. it's such a good question, and really caused me to think a lot too, Charles. And what I've thought a lot about since hearing that question a couple of days ago, thank you for sharing it with me a little early, is that I really want to know the people that I work alongside. As I said earlier, the basis of enjoyment in this work for me is really connection. And so if I'm expecting that to have that real connection with someone, I need to be able to be myself with them too, and for that to be a mutual give and take. And I really want to know and understand the people that I work alongside. I really want to know and understand the kids that we serve, and so they really need to know and understand us too. And one of the things that I've shared is just my own struggles with some learning and life difficulties as a child and as an adult. I don't overshare. I don't ever want to burden people with my my own anxieties or worries, but I do want to be real with people and allow them to know that they can trust me, that they can be real with me too. I'm not going to I'm not going to divulge a confidence ever. I'm not going to. I always share with teachers that my biggest pet peeve and something that will really be difficult for me to we'll have to rebuild our relationship after something like this is if people talk negatively about others with me. That just isn't that isn't something I engage in, and it isn't something that in any way is positive toward culture. So, and it's not real, it's not genuine. So, those sharing those like staff as we get to know each other, I want you to know this about me. I want you to know that you can count on me to be real with you at all times. The other little thing I wanted to share with you guys is this idea of pre-forgiveness. This has been really foundational to me and to the staff that I've led from the beginning. And the idea is this: if we're going to be an organization, if we're going to be a school that takes risks on behalf of kids, if we're going to be a school that is innovative and really looks for new ways to engage and to support kids and families, then we're going to have to, we're going to have to try some things that haven't been tried before.
Right.
And inherent in that sort of way of operating is mistake making.
Right.
And so when mistakes happen, inevitably, we need to have the understanding from the very beginning that we are pre-forgiven. I am pre-forgiven by you, and you are pre-forgiven by me, as long as we talk openly about the mistake and we all learn from it together as a group. And then we'll go on from there, and we'll be even better as a result of it. And what a great mindset to take into the classroom, that childhood is for mistake making. That's what it's meant for. That's a beautiful thing about childhood.
Emily, we do that at Savannah as
Yeah.
well. We practice pre-forgiveness. And I tell you that I tell teachers that, those new teachers, those baby teachers when they come in, and it's like in the room when I lead with that, it's kind of like, and when I'm gonna make mistakes too. We're not going to bat 100. It's just kind of like because we just think that we have to be superheroes, that there's invisible capes flowing in the wind behind us, but that is so huge, and it makes such a big difference on a campus.
Absolutely. And Emily, I wanted to share something that you mentioned about people talking about other people. Not only does it break the trust, but I saw something once that said, I'm not so upset about somebody talking about me. I'm more concerned about why do they feel comfortable coming to you and talking about me, right? So as leaders, we have to think about that, right? We permit we promote what we permit. And so if people know that they could come and gossip to us, we have to think about, what does that say about us as a leader,
Right.
not just about the other relationships in the school. So I love the fact that you brought that up. So Asael, I'm going to hop it over to you. What is one way that being vulnerable has helped you to build trust?
So one example I have is, you know, I don't really like being vulnerable, but it's something that we need to. It needs to happen, and you know, as far as for this previous or the school year that we're on right now, it was very difficult at the beginning of the school year. There was a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety amongst our staff, and you know, just the fear of COVID and coming back, and you know, the whole pandemic has been, you know, it's just been something that we haven't dealt with, and you know, ourselves as leaders, we've never dealt with something like this. So I, you know, during one of our staff meetings, I shared a personal story, or I shared something private with my staff, and here I go. That early on, during, you know, because it's about a year ago that we went off, and I guess in April, my mother got noticed that she was diagnosed with cancer. So my dad had passed away from cancer back in 2008. So they scheduled her surgery for June. Obviously, we couldn't be there. My sister went and dropped her off at the hospital, and they checked her in, and my mom had to stay there by herself. So very, very difficult. So yeah, so, you know, I wanted to show teachers that everyone is being affected by this pandemic. And it's just not teachers or anyone, but, you know, just everyone in general, you know, students. So that really helped. And not that I was trying to build trust, I was just trying to, you know, just share with them, like, hey, we're all going through something. And I don't like to share those things because I want for them to see me as the rock. You know, I want for them to see me as, hey, this is Mr. R. But, you know, it was something that I had to do just to share with them. And it kind of broke the anxiety and the stress that teachers were feeling. I mean, yeah, it was still there. And I can tell you right now, August was very stressful. You know, September, October. But having those conversations, you know, just coming from me, helped me. And you know, now where we're at, I think we're way in a better place. I think teachers, they trust the protocols that we've set in place, and we're not perfect, but we're, you know, we're making the strides that we need to make. But, you know, just the whole situation of the opening up, it was very, very tough on myself. So, you know, just being vulnerable really helped in easing the stress and anxiety.
Yeah, I have a very similar situation. And on my campus, I think the turning point with my leadership actually was born out of that personal experience, because I was a leader that compartmentalized. Like, I could have World War me going on the inside. And in the midst of World War me, you would never know anything was going on, because I would compartmentalize and I wanted to be that strong leader. But I had an incident where, you know, my mother died a few years back, and I buried her on a Monday. I had jury duty on a Tuesday, and I found myself driving back to work on a Wednesday, you know, just going to be this strong leader that everybody wants. But I had an anxiety attack, and I've never had an anxiety attack. I had a major anxiety attack on the way to the high school to do some walkthroughs. I ended up giving my clipboard to someone and saying, I just can't do this, not knowing what was going on the inside of me. Let me just get back to the building. I got back to the building, it got worse. And in that moment, I realized that, you know, that I was broken, and that there was something inside of me that needed to be healed and fixed before I could serve others. And I made the choice, I'm going to step away because I can't give you my best. I'm going to step away for 4 weeks, and then I'm going to come back. And when I came back, there was a change, because I was no longer that strong through everything with World War Me going on the inside. People on my staff saw that he's a real person and that he's doing this work. He's been doing this work while he's wounded. He's wounded, but working. And so now you become a model that he's hurting and he's coming in every day. He has a challenge that we all know that we are aware of, and he's engaged in this meeting. And so then you become a model that, you know, you're vulnerable and you allow them to see that leaders go through the same things and have the same needs that the staff members have. And so now it's this model of it is manageable. And, you know, now I talk very freely, and that was really the beginning of me just, you know, I just share everything now. Used to, it was just, it's business, let's go. But there's power when people know that you're a person too, you have challenges too, and you get your work done. And then there's just a whole nother level of support.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys,
And so as I know, you know, as we're moving along here, I know that we have one of my favorite sections coming up, the ideas that stick. And so I'm not going to jump into my tale of vulnerability. Thank you.
Can Emily say something real quick? I see something busting out of her forehead.
Sure.
I was listening to you guys share and thinking this question. Do you guys feel like the difficulties of this past year have allowed something in you to open up a little bit in terms of just compassion and not being quite as
The entire community, Emily,
right?
even parents, the biggest difference is in parents. I've
Yeah.
seen parents give so much grace and commend teachers, you know, things that parents they would call about, they give grace. Well, I realize that it's a pandemic, blah, blah. It's transformed really the entire community. And I think the worst time has become the best of times because we're making a critical turn.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, you know, I think what I was going to say was I think what we are all talking about, which I think, Mac, is going to be one of our new sessions down the road, is this idea of toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Especially as leaders, we feel that we need to be these strong, astute, right?
Mhm.
Just standing up there, and that isn't who we need to be. And so as we open up, as we become real, Emily, as we become, you know, vulnerable, but I think the key here, and for any listeners watching this, do so genuinely. Do so with the intention of just building connections. Because if you're saying, hey, I'm going to share this because I'm trying to build trust, people are going to see through that. It's going to fall apart. You're going to create a bigger mess than you've originally had. So just be genuine. And if it comes up, if it's there, then absolutely. So great ideas here. I loved everything that you guys said. You know, like I said, I kept trying to figure out the ideas of where I'm vulnerable. And this is an area, I'll be honest, I still struggle with. Right? I don't let people in. I have that World War Me happening. And it's like, no.
You're smiling.
It's like, why are you always smiling? Because otherwise I'm going to start crying. No, I'm joking.
Right. You're right.
So we absolutely have to start allowing ourselves to become vulnerable. And so I'll love to have that conversation moving forward. But let's move on to our ideas that stick, because I know as we're getting to the end of this, we want to have some takeaways. So Mac, why don't you take it away with our ideas that stick?
Okay, ideas that stick. This is really one of my favorite parts because we want a call to action, and we want some fruit from our conversations today. We want fruit from our conversations today. We want you to do some things throughout the week. Charles, I want you to tell us what is your takeaway? What is it that you can commit to doing? Now, I'm on spring break this week. I won't rub it in. But Emily and I, we're on spring break. But what will you do while you're working and I'm sleeping?
Yeah, you know what? So we don't have spring break for like another 4 weeks. So I'm a little jealous. At least our weather should be nice by then. So we enjoy it. So you know, my biggest takeaway from all of this, and you know, we touched a little bit on this, but it's about owning our mistakes, right? We're going to make them as leaders, and as kind of what we're talking about here. We can't pretend like we're not going to make them. We can't pretend as if we don't make them. But I think the biggest thing is don't blame others. I think a lot of times we're afraid, and so we'll pass the buck and throw somebody under the bus, and that is the worst thing you could do as a leader. If you make a mistake, I made a mistake just yesterday during our staff meeting. I mentioned about how we're losing an hour this weekend, and people freaked out. And they're like, no, that's next week. Oh yeah, you're right. I messed up, right? But it's like that. I could have come up with any story. I was looking at my calendar. I messed up. It's okay, because as leaders, we are people and we mess up. So that's mine. Own your mistakes, take care of them, and move on.
That's excellent. I made a big mistake this week. I was doing announcements on Thursday, and I said, "Hey, it's Wednesday, blah, blah, blah." Yeah, we make mistakes. We make mistakes. Emily, what's your big takeaway, and what do you want us to consider as we move into our week?
Well, gosh, most of the ideas that have stuck with me today have come from you gentlemen. So thank you very much. But that idea of pre-forgiveness, it's just been so transformational to my work and my enjoyment of my work. And then those 5 facets of trust: benevolence, honesty, openness, reliability, and competence. It's been so great hearing. I think Asael has given me like new life goals, maybe. Like I want to like somehow transform myself into the person that wakes up at 4 a.m. and runs and then goes and bees awesome all day. But this has been so good. Thanks, guys.
Ankle weights. I'm not going to get up at 4, but maybe I can put on ankle weights when I'm walking in the building. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. We'll think about it. Asael, what are your takeaways? What do you want us to take away other than waking up early to work out?
Big time. My takeaway is, stakeholders are not numbers.
That's good.
They're not data. They're people.
Yeah.
We're here to serve. And just like students and teachers, remember, we're here to coach them, not manage them.
Right.
Okay. And let's keep that in mind. Whether it be in the classroom, wherever, we're here to coach. We're here to serve. Just some quick things that you can do. Go to their games. Very, very simple. And earn the kids' respect. They want to see you there. Celebrate students at every moment. Celebrate teachers at every moment. Just bring that positivity, bring that energy. We're here to serve. It's our job. Schools were not made for adults to have jobs, but rather for kids. And that's my takeaway.
Great. My ideal that stick is we have to build relationships. We got to be very intentional with our words. Be intentional with our words. Say what you mean what you say, and do it. People are looking for those patterns. So when we make a commitment, we have to be committed to the commitment. And if we overcommit, just circle back around. Be a real person. Own it. Kind of connects with Charles. Own it and say, I thought that was going to happen, but I couldn't get the PO approved, or we were outside of our timeline. So be intentional with your words. Commit to your commitments, because people have to believe what you tell them.
Absolutely, Mike. I tell people all the time, my staff, blame it on my mind, not on my heart, because I forget. We have so many things going on. Do not feel ashamed to say, hey, did you remember? I said, because that helps me. I'm not going to be upset. So absolutely. So as we are wrapping up here, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of our viewers and our guests here. Please make sure that you continue joining us for all of the wonderful things that are coming.
Yes.
We have office hours on March 9th. So please make sure that you join Spencer and Naomi. They are going to be hosting, and they are huge in STEM. So if you have any curiosities about STEM, please make sure that you join Spencer and Naomi as they do their thing on March 9th. Don't forget that on March 11th, we have Rock Your Class Kahoot. It is an online competition in French, English, math, and Spanish. And there's our prizes for students all across the world. So if you're looking for an opportunity to connect, please make sure that you check this out March 11th. And then, of course, join us on March 20th as we discuss hiring up because as we know, we are looking for teachers, as we
Yes.
are interviewing teachers. This is probably one of the most challenging aspects of our job. So make sure that you join us. And teachers, I was mentioning, make sure that you join, because we would love
Yes.
to hear from you as well about what draws you to a school, but not just drawing, but what keeps you there. So we would love to hear from you as well. So please make sure that you join us on March 20th. And again, thank you to all of our viewers. I saw my own mentor and coach, Dr. Hammond, popping in. So thank you for being here. Remember to like, subscribe, follow us everywhere, and we will all see you very soon. Take care. Thank you, Asael. Thank you, Emily and Mac. It is always a wonder.
Go join our Facebook group.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's continue this dialogue.
You guys have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching School Rubric on YouTube. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe in order to stay looped in on all of our diverse collection of shows, interviews, panels, tutorials, and more from educators around the globe. And visit us at SchoolRubric.com for even more great content, such as our online articles, Interact magazine, featured podcasts, and more. Thank you.